Aces and eights, I told security to make sure that they leave the gate wide open for you. So where are you? Isn't it amazing who will come together when the circumstances are the way they are? We got a group of men right here who are ready to fight. These men right here are all ready to fight. And the victims are ready to fight. The victims are ready to get revenge starting tonight. And there's one victim who has had the cloud of doubt over him for quite some time now. The cloud of doubt is officially gone. I want to invite him to come out here now. The Cowboy, James Storm.
You know what, Sting? You're exactly right. If I was on the other side of the fence, I might have believed I had something behind it too, because the evidence sure did stack up. But as you've seen last week, they jumped me just like they did you, just like they did Kurt, just like they did Aries, just like they did almost everybody at Impact Wrestling. So I got a little idea. How about we turn this wrestling show into an ass-whipping show tonight?
Yes, James, I'll tell you what, James, you're on the money with that. Ladies and gentlemen, I know we had a Hogan chant starting a minute ago, and let me just tell you something right now. Aces and eights, when you decided you wanted to intimidate Brooke Hogan, you pissed off a real big bad bear, and that is Hulk Hogan. It's just like the people are saying, we want Hulk, and Hulk is here tonight. So, Aces and eights, where are you?
I don't think I...
Oh, here we go, Mike, here we go. Hey, Ken, let him in. Hey, let him in. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This is all you brought? No, I know better than that. You got more than that. Where are they? You got something you want to say? Hey, you want to talk? Say something to her. Talk to her. Thank you. I just got patched in. You all, you're all in for a long, painful night.
And now, more Pro Wrestling Weekly with your host, Fearon Derry.
Sit down, shut up, and listen up.
Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you, talking all things WWE, talking TNA. Still got the rest of the SummerSlam results to go over. We'll get to that in a minute. But, of course, from the clip that you heard there on Impact, I didn't get the chance to go over it last week because I recorded the show for last Saturday on Wednesday before Impact had aired. But after Aces and Eights had attacked James Storm on a week ago's Impact, that kind of ruled him out as being the leader of the faction. So now he stood alongside the other TNA roster members. And with it being open fight night, Sting made sure to call out Aces and Eights, and we sure got a wild brawl at the end. It seemed like it was about 20 guys on each side, a whole slew of them. But, yeah, it was, to say the least, a long, painful night that ended up with Austin Aries getting left the worst for wear, and we'll see what that leads for him as he is still the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Now, of course, looking back to SummerSlam, of course, I mentioned CM Punk retaining a WWE Championship. Jericho beat Dolph Ziggler, which is what led to the rematch on Raw this past Monday that sent Jericho out. That was the only one I didn't predict right. Antonio Cesaro in the pre-show, he beat Santino Marella to become the new WWE United States Champion. Daniel Bryan beat Kane in a little over 8 minutes. The Miz beating Rey Mysterio to hold on to the Intercontinental Championship in a little over 9 minutes. Sheamus retaining the World Championship, beating Alberto Del Rio, and it looks like we've got a rematch of that already set for Night of Champions, thanks to SmackDown last night, where a number one contenders match was held, and Alberto Del Rio beat Randy Orton to become the number one contender. So we'll see a rematch at Night of Champions between Sheamus and Alberto Del Rio. Kofi Kingston and R-Truth, they retain the WWE Tag Team Championship. And, of course, in the main event, Brock Lesnar beating Triple H. And it looks like in the process, locking on that Kimura lock, Triple H's arm got broke again. And he's going to address his future this Monday on Raw. I don't know. Might this be it for the game? I don't know. Something tells me, speaking of stroking egos, I don't think that this is going to be it for the cerebral assassin. But that's just my skepticism and I guess, I don't know, long-time jadedness kind of coming in a little bit. Of course, filling in today in the producer's chair here is Pat Furness, and I know, Pat, you follow wrestling at least a little bit more than I know Wild Bill Melody does. I mean, he's great at pushing the buttons, but I've joked on occasion, Bill's awesome, but I don't think he knows a wrist lock from a wristwatch sometimes. But no, I mean, but yeah, you've heard me kind of ramble a little bit about this. I mean, what's I don't know, what's your take on Triple H?
I think he'll be back. He's kind of an institution. I mean, he's not as well known as Hulk Hogan was, who just never seems to give it up. But you think of the WWE or the WWF, depending if you accept that change of name or not, and Triple H is there. I mean, I remember when he was just Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Oh, the Greenwich Blue Blood days with like the hog pen match with Henry Godwin. Oh, I don't know, but both cringeworthy and lovable memories, to say the least. And yeah, I'm sure that kind of jumps out at you a little bit.
I don't think he'll go anywhere though.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's obviously behind the scenes and he'll still be involved. But I meant as far as an in-ring competing capacity.
No,
you think he's still sticking around?
I think he's still going to stick around. He loves the limelight too much. I mean, a lot of those wrestlers got acting deals. Stone Cold, John Cena, obviously The Rock. Mm-hmm. And it just seems like he hasn't really taken that on as much. So this
kind did a little bit. I mean, I don't know. Maybe filming The Chaperone, he just like, you know what, this stuff isn't for me.
I think it kind of strokes his ego, though, being in the ring.
Yeah, and still being that guy even at 40, just recently turning 43 years old about a month ago. Interesting stuff. Let's go ahead and get back to the phones. We've got Ron from Levittown who's been waiting patiently. Ron, welcome to Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Thank you. I hope you had a good vacation in Canada.
Most certainly did. The only thing that sucked about it was leaving. But it's pretty much that way with any vacation, you know?
I'm going to comment on something because, see, I had Rappler was with me on Sunday night. We were watching the pay-per-view. And
my condolences.
In my opinion, it stunk. I mentioned it on your the Pro Wrestling Weekly, and I got comments that they said, what I mean by saying it was good. The only belt that was defended and lost was Santino's, and that was a dog match. The other matches, none of the belts were, they were good matches, I'll grant you, but none of the belts get taken away, and he was commenting when he was here that the matches went pretty fast. I mean, he looked at the clock, he kept looking at the clock and telling me, well, this match is over already. It's like we're halfway through it. It's 9 o'clock in the evening already, and halfway through the match is already that quick.
Well, true. The longest match of the night went a little under 19 minutes, and that was the main event, Brock Lesnar and Triple H. I mean,
well, that's the match we missed. Unfortunately, we missed that. We started watching it, and then we lost that match, so we never got a chance to see what happened.
I mean, of the 7 matches that were on the pay-per-view, not counting the pre-show with Antonio Cesaro and Santino Marella, of those, I mean, only 4 out of the 7 went longer than 10 minutes.
I mean, he was commenting with me when he was saying, Chris Jericho going against Dolph Ziggler, the first match, I would have put that closer to the near the end. I mean, it was a good match all through it. It was a good match. I mean, I was upset that titles, CM Punk didn't lose the title. We thought that maybe Big Show was going to win it, and Rappaport was telling me he thought that maybe the Undertaker would come out, interfere some way, and I thought so too. I
don't know. I can't declare that a pay-per-view is necessarily disappointing if there aren't any title changes on it. I mean, how many times did we deal with, going back into the 80s and 90s, I mean, how many pay-per-views were there before there was the title change? I mean, back when Hogan held the belt for over 4 years. I mean, were you disappointed when there wasn't, necessarily a title change at a WrestleMania or in the later 80s at SummerSlam? Or, the thing that made those great was when there was a title change, it was a bigger deal. I mean, if you've got a title change at every pay-per-view every month, they don't mean as much.
Yeah, well, that's why I said it. To me, it didn't feel like it was important to watch it because of the fact that there were no title changes. But there were good matches, and then all in all, I mean, the very good. And now getting off that one topic, TNA, now, Hulk Hogan back as Tyler Hogan, that really made my night. He's back. Well, now,
here's what gets me with that. I mean, I was going to say, sorry to interrupt. I mean, that was something that was kind of on my mind anyway. The fact that everybody was excited that the bad guy version of Hogan was back, that just kind of baffled me. It's like, all right, this is somebody who you booed for years.
Ace of Eight. I mean, back to the way he looked. But you never know. I mean, it's like he might be throwing everybody off and making everybody believe he's not. But, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't put past TNA to do a trick like that again. I mean, he did it with when he left when he went to the NWO and Randy Savage was his opponent, was out there that time with him, and he turned on Savage that time. So I wouldn't put it past him to do a number like that on Sting this time.
Interesting stuff. Anyway, I'm coming up against it, Ron. Thanks so much for the call.
Welcome back again.
I appreciate it. All right, we'll take a quick look at some news and notes. We'll get a little bit of it out now, and we'll get the rest for you coming up in the third segment. I mentioned Chris Jericho and Tyler Rex, both now out of WWE. Also, WWE.com reporting that Rey Mysterio is out at least through this weekend's house shows after suffering a concussion in his match with The Miz at SummerSlam. I will save this one for the other side. Let's just say that a former WWE, TNA, and UFC star played the gender guessing game and got it wrong. We'll just leave it at that. That's called a tease there, Pat. I can see you have that almost cross-eyed look like, what in the fresh hell is he talking about? Well, have to stick around to find out. Also, tonight is the WrestleMania replay special featuring The Rock and John Cena on NBC, and that's starting at 9 o'clock Eastern. And you might have noticed that Beth Phoenix hasn't been on TV in a while, and it's not because hardly anybody's paying attention to the Divas, at least in terms of storyline writing. No, Beth Phoenix, the Glamazon, thanking her Twitter followers for their, quote, support and respect while myself and my family grieves the loss of a loved one. So best wishes to Beth Phoenix. Hopefully the Glamazon will be back in the ring, kicking butt and doing what she does after she deals with her personal issue there. And a little bit of a rumor dispelling, even though it's been rumor for a while, but apparently some people are attempting to report it as fact. Good old JR, he shot down some apparent online rumors that Steve Austin would be returning to the ring at WrestleMania 29. Ross's quote, sources or media saying that Austin will wrestle at WrestleMania 29 have zero credibility. If Austin ever returns, he'll make the call. Now, I thought it was merely speculation and that nothing had been reported. I know here on Pro Wrestling Weekly, all we've done is hope, and that's hope at best, but never said that anything was official, even by a long shot. And looking on the injury front, D'Angelo Dinero, who I wrongly picked a couple weeks ago to win that four-way Falls Count Anywhere match at Hardcore Justice, and of course was attacked before the match even started by Aces and Eights. Well, due to that attack, he stated on Twitter he'll be out of action for, quote, a couple of months due to a broken collarbone, and that takes the Pope out of the Bound for Glory series standings. And what does that mean for the standings? Well, the matches that the Pope was supposed to have ended up turning into a three-way between the three people who would have otherwise faced him, according to Sting. So because of that, you had Robbie E., Rob Van Dam, and AJ Styles in a three-way match, and Robbie E. got the 7 points in that this past Thursday on Impact. Who'd have thunk that? Also, some other news. We've got a former NFL player and wrestler intending to run for mayor. We'll talk a little bit about that on the other side. And the new WWE app. What do you think of that? Plus, we want to know your favorite Canadian wrestlers. Looking on the Facebook feedback, John chiming in. Apparently, Wikipedia's got it wrong. Wikipedia claiming that The Rock is Canadian. I may have to do some research over the break on that. Somehow, no, he's part African American and part Samoan, if my my lineage is correct, at least off the top of my head. But I don't know.
He did play in the Canadian Football League, though.
Yeah, but he wasn't born or, doesn't have any, Canadian roots or anything.
No, maybe that's where they screwed up.
Well, it's Wikipedia. It's, anybody can put information anywhere. So it's possible they could, they could have somebody could have misentered something, whether it was intentional or not. That's the fun of Wikipedia. And then, of course, there's the fun of this show, which we've got about 20 more minutes of. And, programming note for next week. Next week starts high school football season here on BCB, and knowing that we have a few Saturday games, there are going to be a couple of Saturdays over the course of the next 2 months that we're going to have scaled-back episodes because of games that would start at 1 and therefore have a pregame at 12:45. So we'll have a couple of instances where we'll only be going until 12:45, and next Saturday, September 1st, is the first of those incidents. So only a 40-minute show next week, but certainly plenty of stuff jam-packed. All kinds of news notes. We'll throw some other things out there here on Pro Wrestling Weekly. Let's go ahead and take care of our second bit of business. We've got room for more of your calls. We'll take an in-depth look at the Facebook feedback, get some more news and notes. More of your thoughts, favorite Canadian wrestlers. We'll throw a few more of them out there for you, all here on Pro Wrestling Weekly, here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.